What's up, guys? This is Carter Thomas with Coin Mastery TV. Make sure you're on our email list so that you can get a bunch of free newsletters and downloads and PDFs. Go to www.coinmastery.com/invest. Put in your first name, your email address. We'll send you all the stuff that you need. I think it'll be very helpful for you, especially as we go into these tumultuous crypto markets. If this is your first time joining us, we do daily analysis and discussions about cryptocurrency world. The purpose of all of this is to help you guys make better decisions so that you make more money in this huge opportunity. And I'm going through this. I want to share my experience with you. And in the meantime, I want to help you just crush it as much as you possibly can in this incredible opportunity. Today, we're talking about a few things. We're talking about the big dip that we're looking at right here that happened. It looks like some fake-ish news, probably fake news, but misleading news. I guess that's the best way, coming out of China. Talking about what that means for you in terms of price, Bitcoin price going down or up, or what you should do with holding or buying or whatever. And then I want to talk a lot about researching new coins, right? I think over the next couple of weeks, we're going to talk a lot about ICOs and how to check out ICOs, but analyzing an ICO for a particular project is one set of tools, but researching a project that's already live and trading and has a market cap and all that is a little bit different. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity in many of these already established coins. And I want to walk you through one that I've done that I'm accumulating. I'm not trying to promote it. It's purely that I think that this is going to help you as you research some lower cap stuff. All right. And then I want to talk a little bit about just day trading and versus holding. I think that conversation is happening in a lot of people's minds about, should I be day trading or should I be swing trading? Should I just be holding on to this? What should I be doing? And I want to give you a little bit of insight into what I'm learning so that you can make a better decision about what you should do as well. Here's what it looks like. I don't really check CryptoWatch anymore because this is all US dollars. And I don't think there's a way for me to change this into BTC, but it's just a good visual representation. On Bitcoin right now, you can see that there has been a pretty significant drop. There's also a bigger drop on the Chinese markets than there is in the US markets. That was the first alert that the Chinese markets were leading the charge. And you can see with this big drop that there was a very severe drop in price by, I want to say, $300, give or take. The reason why, here's just a random TechCrunch article. There's plenty of articles where there was a couple leaked reports about China saying they were going to ban Bitcoin on exchanges in China. Then came out all these secondary articles that said, well, it's not really a ban. It's more of we're going to monitor the exchanges. And the bottom line is, it doesn't look like it was as, where did I go here? It doesn't look like it was as crazy as people originally thought. And that's why we started to see this retracement. Now, the odd thing is, why isn't it retracing all the way back? And I don't have the answer to that, but I do think that it brings up an interesting observation, and hopefully this helps paint a picture of why I haven't been totally exuberant recently about our current price situation. And there's nothing I'm hiding. There's nothing other than something about this. Just, I'm still not totally there yet. I haven't quite gotten around it. And I think that this is starting to paint a picture of why, right? If the price can go from, let's say it was at 46 and goes down to 40, whatever it went down to, let's say 42 or 4,100, maybe 4,000 this morning, high 39s, over a very small article. If the overall market is willing to drop the top coin that fast, that big, over unverified information, that to me feels like everything's overpriced. Not everything, Bitcoin, which is essentially everything, because every other coin went down too. In comparison to this, imagine that Bitcoin, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but imagine that over the weekend it drops to 3,000 or whatever. And it goes down to 3,000. And then on Monday, we see some news from some Chinese website that nobody can read, or non-Chinese speaking people can't read the website, that says something like Chinese government's going to ban Bitcoin again. When the Bitcoin price is down at 3,000, I would ask you this question, because you are just as much of a market as anyone else. Would you still be as quick to sell or to panic or whatever? Not that you did, but wouldn't it feel different if Bitcoin was down at 3,000 versus if it's at 4,600? Right? And that's pure market sentiment. I mean, you can kind of see it in the charts. It's kind of where my idea of uneasiness comes from. But I think that that 4,600, nobody fully believes it. I shouldn't say nobody. A lot of people don't fully believe it. I think 4,300 is a little bit more believable. But I think there's something missing, where when rumors can make the price drop that much, when it's that sensitive, typically in markets, that is a sign that it's that it's overpriced, that there's some sort of inflationary measure there that shouldn't be, and that we grew too fast. Again, this is just what my perspective is, but I think that if we did come back, and when you look at the big chart, I mean, when you look at the real picture, when you get out of our day-to-day, and let's say we went down to 30, let's say we went down to 3,000 to this last support level, right? And it hit it there, and then it came back up. In the grand curve, yeah, it looks like it's pretty big, but you can also see that it's not the end of the world. It's not like we're never going to see 5,000 again. In fact, by doing that, we'd probably go up to 10,000 a lot faster, because we have a healthier market. But I think that that's an important thing to keep in mind when you, not just what's happening right now, but how do people react to this? And what is the situation where they would have a different reaction? And I think that if the price was a lot lower, there wouldn't be as much of this manipulation going on. So we'll see. One other thing that we saw, Komodo. If you're watching, I tweeted about Komodo yesterday. Can't remember exactly when it was, but a lot of people I talked to, a bunch of chart people, were saying, hey, this looks like it could go up. And then so I did some research, and there was a big announcement today. And when you look at this, it looks like, guess what? Buy the rumor, sell the news. When have we seen this before? So it looks like there was a pretty good run up. There was a dip. There was went up to like 83 at some point. And then huge drop off during this big announcement. I didn't even see the announcement. I just knew that they were having a big press release. That's the crazy thing. I didn't even know what the press release was. I just knew that they were having it. And so I got out of this after I got about 8% up, and I said, this is just, rumor spikes. But this buy the rumor, sell the news thing is just really prevalent. And going back to that first point, the more we are in a market that isn't completely natural, it's not completely healthy, which I think we're flirting with that line, the more you're going to see this volatility, these big ups, big downs, just based on the news, just based on emotional market sentiment. So something to keep in mind as the prices continue to go up, as they go down, whatever. Healthier markets react less to rumors and they react better to news. So it's overall a good thing. One thing with this that I want to share, let's talk about this now, right? The day trading stuff, because then we can just dive into this research side of it. Some people, especially if you're new, or if you have previously been an investor where you have 401k or index funds, and then you get into crypto and you're seeing these crazy returns, and maybe even you watch this channel and you say, this guy's talking about trading a lot. This seems like a good idea. What, should I do it or not? What I will say is this. when you are trading, if you're spending a small amount of money, let's say you have 1 Bitcoin to trade, like that's your trading budget. And if you are going in and buying the dips and trying to get those 20% scalps off of one Bitcoin, or even half a Bitcoin, if you're only going in with half of it, that incremental increase is going to be better for your education and less effective for building your wealth. In other words, if you are going to trade, and if you want that to be a source of your growth, which it can be a very good one in this market, what I will tell you is this: you need to be building up this skill set so that you can move real money in these trades. And when I say real money, let's say 10 to 15 to 20 Bitcoin in a trade. I'm not saying you need to have that by any means, but when you do the math on getting a 20% scalp, if you're moving half a Bitcoin in those trades, it's going to be very hard to continue for that to turn into a big income for you. Now, the small trade budgets can be really good to learn with, but the goal should always be to build out that Bitcoin stack, to go from 1 to 3 to 10 to 20 to 50 Bitcoin. That's what you can deploy in this market. Now, you also notice whenever I talk about trading, I really don't talk about much past the second page of Bittrex, because you can't trade very much money. Like, I couldn't spend a certain amount of money on anything that doesn't have at least 1,000 Bitcoin volume. It just, you couldn't deploy it all without really changing the price. And the reason why this is important, and the reason why I want you guys to know this, is that if you are getting into trading, or if you are debating whether or not you should trading, realize that for trading to be a very viable way to build your wealth, right, to really grow into a powerful source of income, you need to constantly be trading with more and more and more funds. And that is not only a combination of skill, that is a confidence thing as well. It is nerve-wracking to drop, let's say, 10 Bitcoin on a dip in metal, right? If metal goes down and you're like, oh man, I think I can scalp this. It's one thing to be doing 0.2 Bitcoin. It's another thing to be doing 15, 20 Bitcoin. But the 15, 20, that's how this becomes a real generator of wealth for you. So I just think that's something that I've started to realize, is that if you're gonna trade, great. But you always have to be thinking about, how can I get more confident and even more aggressive, not with your calls, but with how much money, how much crypto you're willing to deploy against that trade. And that's why you really got to look at, do your research, look at the charts. You got to have your stop losses in place, buy the dips, because when you're putting that kind of money out there, you can make so much more, but you can't be reckless about it. So this is just my journey. It's at some point you just need to start trading more money for it to be a real thing. So I wouldn't necessarily encourage everybody to go out and put 25, 30 Bitcoin onto a trade, but I would recommend it feels different when you start putting out that kind of money, let's say $40,000 or $50,000 US dollars into a scalp trade. That's why I also don't pick stuff like every 10 minutes, because, whatever. So anyway, something to think about. Let's dive in. I want to spend the rest of this time, the other half of this video, talking about researching a coin, accumulating a coin for the long term, right? So on the flip side of trading, there's holding. And while I think that the big coins are probably one of the best bets, it's gonna be hard to beat things like Bitcoin, Monero, Ethereum, whatever else. Sometimes you want to go and accumulate smaller coins. So here's something that I did, and here's a coin that I'm accumulating. You can go check this out. If you want to buy it, terrific. Boost the price up. That'd be awesome. But a couple weeks, what was it? Today is September 8th. And on August 31st, I tweeted a response to somebody about privacy coins. I said, yeah, I've been looking at Zencash and Zcoin because I've been researching privacy. You guys know I'm big on privacy. Both have merit. Personally, like Zcoin more because it's not a fork of a fork. If you don't know what that means, it's the code is original. Meaning, so Zcoin's code is originally built. Zencash's code is it took Zcash's original code and made a little different to make a new coin. You don't need to, whatever. It's kind of nerdy stuff. But what was interesting is that as I typed this or wrote this, Zcoin, the actual company, hit me back. And they said, hey, thanks. Glad someone recognizes original development. For further info and comparison, check out this post. So what does this mean? It means that somebody at Zcoin is monitoring people who are talking about Zcoin on Twitter. 2, this wasn't automated because they said something that directly addressed what I had written. Meaning that there is a person or a community manager who is actively watching this and providing value and creating content around this. This was awesome. I was super impressed with them for doing this, and this got my attention, so I read this post. This is what took me into the rabbit hole because a lot of coins, they neglect this piece. They neglect, it's not even marketing, it's community building. It's how do they go and really cater one-on-one to people, which I'm a big believer of, which, this community is really built on in a lot of ways. But it's also cool because you go see, they do this for everybody. You can go see all their tweets and all their replies. They respond to all these tweets all single day. And it's all personalized. It's actually somebody doing it. So that was number one, right? They get that this is a people game, and they're really trying to get people involved on a personal level. So the first thing everyone does when they're researching it is you go to cryptocurrency market or crypto coin market cap. I obviously don't go to this site very often because I don't find a lot of this information very helpful, especially like all this trend. None of this is that helpful other than market cap and circulating supply and things like that. And then it tells you where the markets are. It gives you some easy links. But overall, whatever, because I don't like the US dollar amounts. But I look back, and as a profit seeker, right, as a short-term trader, I looked at the charts through June, July, and September, and this to me is very boring because so many other coins they go through the roof, but this one didn't. Which originally I was kind of like, well, that's kind of boring. Where's the load? Where's the accumulation phase? When's this thing really going to explode? But when you look at a lot of the long-term coins, like Augur is a really good example of this. Augur is an amazing platform. It's very boring from Aragon's the same way. It does not have the growth curve that a lot of other coins do, at least in the short term. It's also been around from last year, at least it's been parsed on this. It's trading on a good amount of markets, especially Bittrex, which is always a good sign. They're active on their social and on Reddit and all these sort of things. So overall, I was impressed. Very small market cap, which is, that's nice because then you can really get in there. And relatively low circulating supply, but I believe it's being mined. So that will probably increase, which I talked about this the other day, proof of stake versus proof of work. Mined coins, as long as they're already established, they don't bother me at all. In fact, they can be very lucrative. But for ICOs into projects that are using an ICO, brand new coins, limited supply tends to work just because there's less manipulation potential. So that's not a deal breaker for me because it's already out there. It's been proven. So overall, this looked pretty good. I said, it's pretty boring, which means that 90% of the people in crypto right now would look at this and write it off because it's not like, this doesn't have a get rich quick sign on it. Very low market cap, which means that I could own a lot of this company if I wanted to. And it's listed on legit exchanges. So I'm not looking for like an exchange arbitrage. It's already passed the sniff test from especially Bittrex, which typically has a good indicator of that. So next step, let's go check out and see what these guys are doing. You go to their website. They've got a really nice website. They did a really good job with this, right? And you should go and check it out. It's zcoin.io. Nicely designed. They have really good, they have a nice blend of explaining what they do, explaining what how privacy coins can help, and the development benefits, right? Why is Zcoin a superior product than others? So on the one side, they're catering to you and me, who would look at this as an investment. They're also catering to people that know crypto, developers, potential miners, people that want to get involved, who want to understand the coding and the technical side more than the average person would. And that's cool. That's hard to do in this business. You don't see this as often as you probably should. So you go through this. I love that they have a blog. I love that they have so much going on. And then you start to dig in. And I'm not going to go through every single thing, but the first thing is get Zcoin. So the number one thing that they're promoting is how can people easily get access to this. So they link to their GitHub repository, which is where you keep all your code. They make it very easy to download. I downloaded their wallet. It's easy to use. It takes about 5 hours to sync the blockchain, and then you can quickly send coins back and forth. They integrate with third-party wallets, but this is a big deal for me. The fact that they have not only great wallets, but they make it easy for you to store these coins safely. This is a big deal because this allows for scale. This allows for people to buy and maintain these coins in a safe and updated way. Now, the next thing, which you guys know I'm a huge believer in, go to the team. And look at this. I mean, they have paragraphs about each of these members. If you went and Googled these individual members, you could find much more information about them. There's a lot of really good info. They are very forthright about this information. So I love that they are saying, hey, this is who we are. Like, we want you to be a part of our team. We have a team, be a part of our community. We got some advisors. I love that. I think that that's great. And are also legit, right? Like, you look through the bios and they certainly, they know what they're doing. It's a young team, but I think that they've got something really cool there. They've got the tech, they've got the roadmap, they've got FAQ, which is something that's really cool because when it comes to privacy coins, there's gonna be a lot of questions. Like, how does this work? Why is this better than anything else? What's going on? They've got a great blog. And in the blog that I really liked was that they addressed what I consider to be the most important question, which is, why is Zcoin better than the other privacy coins? I think that everybody thinks that their coin's the best. And there's a million reasons why. Zcash is better than Monero, but Verge and Pivx are better than anything. And everybody's got their own reasoning why certain privacy coins are. But what I like about Zcoin is that they address it all head on and they promote this, right? This is on Steemit, right? And they also have a blog promoting this sort of thing. And they're actively out there teaching people what makes Zcoin better. And a fundamental rule in marketing is that you don't actually market a product. You market what makes the product unique. That's what successful marketing does. So I like that they figured this out, because as this grows, Zcoin has to become a brand for it to really go big. And this is a very good first step in being able to build that brand. They have the name, they have the design. Now they need the story, and that's what they're really cultivating and working on, which is awesome. Now they're, part parameter generation, like, that's a little geeky, but this is a good sign. I like what they're doing. Community, I'm obviously a huge believer in community, and it's very active. You can go on all of these different channels. They're always in the community. In fact, they have a dedicated community manager. So of course, let's go check out their YouTube channel. Now, the ultimate way to really meet somebody without meeting them is through video. And what's cool is that they're on video talking to you. And I watched this the other day, this live stream, and they are like, it's a regular dude, right? He's the community manager. He's not trying to sell you anything. He's just like, hey, this is what we're doing. Here's what the updates are going to look like, and all that sort of thing. So that's really cool that they have a community. They're out there. They're actively promoting it. The Block Explorer, you can check that out, and contact if you want to get in touch with them. So the third phase is they are trying to cultivate community, but what does the average person think? What does the community itself think about Zcoin? Because for them to think it's the best is one thing, but for other people to be believers, it is also another, especially when it's not making anybody rich right now. And it's probably not going to anytime soon. Like, look, these curves do not look like they are going to explode the way that other businesses would. So you wouldn't find people in here who are talking about Zcoin talking about how they're going to make $1 billion, right? These people that actually believe in it. So I always go to the most recent on Bitcoin Talk, and let's go, I don't know, one back, just give it a couple of days here. And you can see that the Zcoin is, like, their official Bitcoin Talk account is active, right? They are responding to questions. They're providing answers. They're trying to help people out. And the kicker is, in the developer update, they addressed questions that were brought up in the Bitcoin Talk community. This may seem like a small thing, but when you compare this to the 300 other coins that I've researched, all of these things together is harder to find than you think, right? Just the whole package that you see. So I really like that a lot. I like that they're active in all this. And the final thing is, so we've got a great product, we've got a great team, got a community, an active community, got a good brand and a good story and a good kind of marketing angle, which as a marketer, I'm always into that. The final thing, which he talks about in this video, but if you go to the FAQ and as you dig in, you learn about this, they are about to release what are called Z nodes. I believe it's called Z nodes or whatever. It's something nodes, where they're going to have proof of stake master nodes, which is awesome when you have a proof of work mining coin and you add a master node to it. For anybody who doesn't know, master nodes are, if you own a certain amount of coins, you can stake them to the blockchain, and you basically get rewarded for owning that many coins. So let's say you owned 1,000 coins or whatever, and that was how much you needed for a master node. You might get 1 coin a day or 1 coin a month for owning those 1,000. It's like dividends on a stock. And that is a very powerful force in terms of price, inflation, and making sure it can decrease the velocity of money in the economy of Zcoin. That's, don't worry about that if you don't know what that means. But master nodes, super nodes, whatever you want to call them, is a powerful tool both for the health of the product, but also from a marketing standpoint. Until you learn that, right? You might not know that if you just looked at that, if you just looked at this coin market cap, you wouldn't know any of this stuff, right? You could kind of glean a little bit off the social, but if you just look at the top line, it's very difficult to know like what's gonna help these guys really crush it. Now, the one thing that is missing is the revolution piece. Remember, I talked about this with Mothership, and I think that Zcoin doesn't quite have that, but I'm okay with it because I think that this caters to a little bit of a different audience, right? This is a little bit more mainstream, and that's okay because I think that these guys have proven that they still believe in it, right? Just based on the amount of work and the amount of outbound support and everything they're doing to get this thing going. So I'm okay with this being less about a revolution in a grandiose sense and more the fact that privacy coins inherently are kind of a revolution in themselves. Now, the last thing is when you go over to Bittrex and you decide that you want to look at the pricing and potentially buy it up, you can look at the historical, and like we saw in the other charts, it's not sexy. These charts do not look very good. I mean, I don't think anybody would say this is exactly what you want to be buying. The volume is extremely low, 126 Bitcoin a day. It's very little, which means that price can be manipulated, and it's also not going to move very much. So to accumulate this, assuming you wanted to buy a good amount of it, would be done over the course of a couple of weeks. So I started buying this, what was that, August 31st? So that was like a week ago, right around here. And it's gone down, but I don't care. I mean, I'm just buying a little bit every day, and I'll keep buying it until I get enough. They haven't told me how many you need for the master nodes yet. They'll release that soon. But just kind of slowly buying it without trying to manipulate the price too much. Just kind of have some orders in here, and then stop for a weekend. Maybe do it a week after that. Just kind of dollar cost average my way in, and then put them into a wallet and help out the community as much as I can. Like, that's all I'm going to do for the most part, and go from there. That to me is what a hold looks like. It's almost better that this is the situation I'm buying it in, because if I was buying this and thinking to myself about how much money this is going to make me, I would sell this so much faster in exchange for whatever, OMG or Monero or whatever is going through the roof any particular day. But because I've done all this research, because I've gone through it all, because I understand the bigger picture of where these guys are going, this team is going, I should say, I have no problem buying and just holding on to this. And the psychology of holding, it has to be that way. It has to be, I don't care if it goes from $9 to $3 for a little bit. I mean, that's an extreme example. But if it goes down $1 or $2, whatever. I'm here for the long haul. This is a 2 or 3 year long-term hold. And that is what holding should feel like. It should never be this idea of, oh man, maybe I should sell this, right? And the only way to get that point is doing this kind of research and having those check boxes and going through it. That is why everyone on Twitter or Facebook is always like, do your own research, and no one ever does. But that's why you should, if you're really interested in buying something, is because your conviction level of holding on to that coin, even for a trade, will be better. You will inevitably make more money, because it's not about knowing more. It's about being more invested psychologically into the particular coin that you're buying. You will not get weak hands nearly as much as if you have nothing invested into the particular coin. That is why it makes you money, not because you get smarter or better info or whatever. It's because it makes you more confident in your position. So when you want to start making more money, when you start putting more money into your trades or your holds or whatever, this is the process. You go through what I just talked about with the coins, and do it yourself. Go pick some random thing on Bittrex. Go to page 5 of Bittrex and pick any of these and go through the same thing and see, do they have a great team? Do they have a great community? Do they have a great product? Do they have a great wallet? Are they catering to everybody? And I'll make checklists and spreadsheets about this, over the next couple of weeks as we do more of these. But you'll see, the more you dig in, the more confidence you will have. And the more confidence you have in this business, the more money you will make, because you won't sell it on days like today when you see things drop and you're like, oh God, because you know that it doesn't matter in the short term. You know that you're here for the long term. So I hope that was helpful. Go out and buy 5,000 Zcoin, please. Just kidding, don't do that. Or you should do that if you want to. But I hope this is helpful. I think that these are the kind of things that it's not the funnest. It's not always the most sexy. I mean, it's kind of fun, but this isn't as fun as making 100% a day. But this is really important when I talk about how you're going to double down. It's putting in a little bit more effort into things like this so that you don't have those weak hand losses. You don't panic when things go down, because that's what kills your gains. This is an insurance policy on you, on your ability to stay the course and to capitalize on all the future growth of everything that's to come. Hope that was helpful, guys. TGIF. And I think it's going to be a pretty interesting weekend. I'll see you guys on Twitter. I am working on a few things for next week around, a lot of you have asked about communities and chat rooms and things. So keep an eye out for that. I'll try to get something up by the end of next week that I think will help you out a lot. A lot of you guys have been asking about that. So stay tuned. See you in about a week. But in the meantime, I'll see you guys on Twitter, Carter Thomas on Twitter. Have a great weekend, guys. And I'll see you Monday. Peace out.